Morning, Kate here, bringing you this week's Monday mission. And I just want to tell you all, I am coming from such a place of gratitude this morning. I had two clients this morning, and they are just incredible, incredible human beings that are showing up and doing the work. And I am just so blessed to be able to give back and use my experiences and my knowledge to help others see their best selves and show up for themselves, which is what we're going to talk about today. But I'm seeing it repeatedly over and over and over again with my clients, and I'm just so grateful that I get to be part of their journey, and I have a little part in that. So if you are thinking about coaching, if you've thought about it, if you resonate with the videos and my content that I'm sharing out there and really want to see it put into practice for yourself and how you can have a coach guide you into using all of these tools that I share, please, please, please reach out, respond to this email, reach out and let me know that you are ready, and we can do our Manage Your Mind workshop, the 3-day workshop, and then see if coaching is a good fit for you. So I just wanted to start off with that because I'm just really overwhelmed with gratitude right now for my clients, and I wanted to share that with you all. So, like I said, we are talking about how to show up for yourself today. So this was another poll from last week. This was like the second response. So 100% of you wanted to talk about the topic last week, which was reacting versus responding. And so the other topic that many of you were interested in was how to show up for yourself. So this took me a long time to start showing up for myself. Really, really did. It's still something that I work on. So what I'm going to do today is talk to you about what it looks like when we are not showing up for ourselves, what it looks like when we are showing up for ourselves, and how do we start doing this, right? How do we start putting this into practice? Because for a lot of us, it's something that we may have never done, right? Or it's something that we stopped doing when we were, it's something that maybe we did when we were younger, and then we just stopped doing it altogether. So what does showing up for yourself look like? Okay, and this is just my perspective, but to me, showing up for yourself looks like how you speak to yourself, right? The words that you say to yourself, the actual sentences that you tell yourself about how you are showing up in the world, right? That inner voice. And when you are showing up for yourself, that inner voice is one of compassion rather than one of criticism and judgment, okay? It's choosing thoughts that serve you, right? So showing up for yourself is recognizing that we can choose our thoughts, and then it's actually making the choice to think the thoughts that serve us and are helpful and don't lead us down these rabbit holes that lead us feeling defeated and unworthy and horrible about ourselves, right? It's like the bus analogy, right? When we show up for ourselves, we are choosing bus 20 that leads to much better feelings, right? So that is what showing up for yourself as far as our thoughts. We are choosing thoughts that serve us. It's also doing what you say you're going to do. So showing up for yourself is saying, I'm going to start eating healthy. I'm going to start being less critical of other people. I'm going to start responding instead of reacting, and then actually showing up and doing it, right? Building up that self-trust with yourself that when you say you're going to do something, you are going to do it. It's trusting yourself, right? So just mentioned that self-trust inventory. It's trusting yourself that you know what is best for you. You know what to do in the moment. You know what is that best thought to choose for yourself. You know how to show up for yourself and trusting that. It's knowing your worth. It's knowing that you are worthy simply because you are, right? So we're insourcing that worth and validation. We're not outsourcing it, where we're putting it onto other people or other things to make us feel worthy or valid, okay? All right, so that's what showing up for ourselves does look like, right? That's the goal. That's where we want to be, right? What does it look like when we are not showing up for ourselves? So that is that inner critic, that constant criticism, judgment, beating ourselves up, shaming ourselves, right? It's that voice that says things about ourselves that we would never say about another human being, even like someone that we really don't like. We would never say these things to them, but we'll say it to ourselves. It's choosing thoughts that don't serve us. It's choosing bus 35 when we know it takes us to that sketchy part of town. It's continuing to choose bus 35 when we know where it goes, okay, and just staying stuck in that thought pattern. It is not doing what you say you're going to do, right? So putting out these unrealistic expectations that you're going to eat no sugar or flour and you're going to work out 7 days a week. And then when we don't do that, because that's unrealistic, we use that as proof against ourselves that we're not showing up for ourselves. We don't do what we say we're going to do. So then we lack that self-trust. It's putting other people's needs before our own, right? So when we are not showing up for ourselves, we are doing that people pleasing, difficulty saying no, prioritizing other people's needs above our own. More times than not, right? Sometimes we do need to do that, right? But it's more often than not, we are putting other people's needs above our own, and we're doing things to get other people to like us or to validate us, right? It's that outsourcing, right? It's my worth is dependent on what this person thinks about me, or if they think that I do enough, or I'm, whatever. It's outsourcing all of that with other people's opinions and things, external things or accomplishments or achievements, right? That's what it looks like when we are not showing up for ourselves. So how do we do this, right? How do we get from all the things we just listed that show that we're not showing up for ourselves to choosing better thoughts, right? Choosing the thoughts that serve us, speaking to ourselves in a compassionate way, trusting ourselves, knowing our worth. How do we get there, right? Sometimes it can feel like a really big jump. It can feel like that's not even possible. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can just do it overnight, right? You can just start doing those things. But I am going to tell you that it's a decision. It is a decision to start showing up for yourself. You're not going to have the motivation. You're not going to have once the circumstances are in place, right? Once I have the house, once I have the job, once my relationship is better, once my kids are older, then I'll start showing up for myself. It's a decision and a choice to do it right now. No circumstance is going to make you show up for yourself. Nothing outside of you is going to make you show up for yourself other than a decision to start doing it and start doing these things. It is a choice, and you have to make that choice more often than not. That's how you get there. You show up for your future self more than you don't. And that's it. That's the work, okay? So, the way that I did this is I started with picturing my younger self. So I literally have a picture in my mind. I can remember I was sitting in the living room of the house that I grew up in, and it was summer. I was really tan. And my hair was like blonde from the sun, blonder from the sun. And it was a family picture. I don't even remember what we were doing, but I just remember this little picture of me. She was so young and just so innocent and vulnerable. And when I look at her, I don't judge her. I don't shame her. I don't beat her up for all of the things that she's maybe done or the choices that she's made, right? None of that comes up when I see that picture. When I see that picture, I just think, wow, she was just such a little kid, right? She was innocent. She was just trying her best. She was just trying to make sense of this sometimes crazy, hectic, chaotic world, right? She was doing her best. So I will picture that version of myself when I'm talking to myself or when I catch myself being super negative with my thoughts. I'll picture her and I'll ask her and I'll say, what do you need? What do you need right now? How can I support you? What do you need from me right now in this moment? And I'll tell her, I'll say, you are half amazing and you are half messy. You are human. The human experience is about feeling all of the emotions. It is not about perfection. It is not about feeling 1000% content with your life at all moments, right? That's not reality. That's not the human experience. And I'll tell her all these things, right? So I will picture that little tan self and I will tell her these things and think these things about her. And that helps bring me back to the moment where I can decide and choose to show up for myself and whatever's going on, right? It helps me choose the better thoughts, the thoughts that serve me. It helps me remember my worth. Okay, I'm just as worthy as that little girl in that moment was. That hasn't changed. It hasn't changed since I was an infant. It hasn't changed since you were born. Your worth is your worth. That's it. When I picture her, it helps me do what I say I'm going to do. It helps me insource, right, instead of outsource that worth and validation and appreciation and love. I can give all of that to her. Okay, so might sound really simple, but that's what I do. I picture my younger self and I do all those things for her that she needed at that time. And then I'm really doing them for me now in the moment. Okay, so that's our mission. Should we choose to accept it? Is to recognize when we're not showing up for ourselves. Okay, and then make the choice. It's a decision. Nobody is going to do it for you, right? There is no one sentence that I can tell you that's going to make you show up for yourself. There's not one exercise that you can do, right? There's not one circumstance I can tell you to try to create that will make you show up for yourself. It's just a choice. You just have to decide that you deserve it. That little person deserves it, and then do it. Decide, make the choice, and do it. All right, so that's your mission. And our journal prompt for this week is, if I was a person that showed up for herself, what would I do? Okay, if I was a person that showed up for herself, what would I do? And just let your brain give you answers and jot them down. Okay? All right, so I hope this is helpful. As always, share with me anything that comes up with you this week. But that's our mission. We're showing up for ourselves this week. We're just deciding to do it. Okay? Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.